Yeah, before I came to China, there was a lot of misconceptions that I've heard about China. But when I got here, got to live here, I really got to know China and know more about China. And it's not what I expected. It's even more. And I think the reason why the Western media is biased towards China too is because China is a communist country. Just think about it. Since it's a communist country, it makes it look bad to the Western world that the communist country has become a little bit more successful. Communist country isn't supposed to be successful. The ideal society is supposed to be democratic and capitalistic, right?
It is like contrary to the belief that communism is not a great system as a form of government. But if it works for them, then it's good. Everyone or every country should be entitled to their own way of doing things. In a way, it works for them just because it's a different kind of culture. It's more like a collective type of culture, unlike the US, which is more individualistic. But this is just my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm a communist, For example, I respect Buddhism and Islam as religions, but it doesn't mean I'm a Buddhist or a Muslim. I think that's what's lacking in this society, the lack of respect and empathy. And how come no one's speaking on Vietnam? That's a communist country too. Gotta spread the love or something. Anyway, if you're against communism, and if you're from one of those countries that fought in the Vietnam War, you should have a grudge against Vietnam, especially if your country lost the war against Vietnam.
Yeah, a lot of things that's never been covered by Western media I got to know about China. They don't really show you the positive things about China. They always show you the negative things about China.
And of course they won't show the positive things about China because if they do, then they'll be considered like a communist or a socialist. And their primary goal is to promote capitalism, democratic society, something like that. And they say that the CCP is evil because of all these bad things it has done. But the Western media and governments, they don't mention about the 800 million people which were lifted out of poverty here in China. And yes, the Western media knows about that. But of course, they don't tell their audience because they already got an agenda that communism is bad. But how come they don't focus their attention on Vietnam? Well, it's not as rich as China, but it's getting there.
Now just look at Vietnam, another communist country. Now it's growing fast. The economy is growing fast.
So is it going to become the next target when it becomes rich? You tell me. Just think about it. Back in the 80s, Japan used to be the scapegoat, But Japan stopped growing. Now it's not a target anymore. Also, have you heard of the terms the yellow peril and the century of humiliation? Well, look them up on Google and know the history where there's like tension between the West and the East, especially China. By the way, this stuff that I've been telling you, this is not based on some news. This is based on my own observation, experience, and my research. Because one thing for sure, I don't believe in the media. Most of them are biased and they got their own agenda. I use my own common sense and independent thinking, unlike most of the people who make negative comments about China. Most of their information and assumptions come from the internet on their phones, made in China. Not from real life, not from observation, but from the news on the internet. And that makes them an expert about China. And I think that's quite funny. I'll be honest with you, I don't really do political vlogs or something like this. But I've had enough of the ridiculous, stupid, and ignorant comments that I get from my postings about China. If only people should focus more on their own country and its problems, not on some country that's probably hundreds or thousands of miles from their home country. And they think their opinion counts a lot, but no. There are billions of people here and most of them are Chinese, and they don't waste their time making comments like this because they would rather work hard and do their best to make their lives better and their country better. That's all I can say. Unlike you guys, you just complain about other countries that you don't really know shit about except from the internet and not from real life. Thank you and have a nice day. I have so much to talk about, but I think I'll leave it for the next vlog. See you next time if you subscribe to follow what I'm about to say next on my next vlog about China.